Welcome to the interview, Kisa. I don't know exactly how I got here, but I was turned into a digital person to
Oh my God.
interview.
Wow. I mean, I like it. Personally, I like it. I think that you look very snazzy.
Well, welcome to the interview. Thank you so much for doing this with me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Hi, guys. My name is Kisaka Toriama, but you can just call me Kisa. I'm the youngest Catgirl sister of the Toriama family, and I always strive to do my best. I may make some mistakes sometimes, but please treat me kindly, everyone.
I was going to ask about your style a little bit. Your style is so colorful and fun. It feels really anime inspired. When did you start watching anime, and did it affect your life growing up?
The answer to that second question has absolutely affected my entire life growing up. I would not be the person I am today without it. But as for when I started watching anime, I think so I have a different time of when I started watching anime and when I started reading manga, because my very first manga series ever was Tokyo Mew Mew. But I have a fun story actually that I wasn't interested in manga until comics, because I read comics because my family was really into them, and I read Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And one time they changed artists, and this artist was very inspired by anime style, and so they completely changed the entire art style of Sabrina to be in this new manga style. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. You know, as a little kitten Kisa, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. This is so new. This is so different. And then it was just a spiral from there. I was like, I wanted to consume anything that was like of that kind of style. I think my first time watching anime, if we're not counting Pokemon, because Pokemon, you know, like I feel like we all watched Pokemon as a kid and as an anime, but we really don't treat it as an anime when we're little, you know?
Yeah, that's odd. We really don't, do we?
We don't. We're like, oh, that's a cartoon. It's like, no, it's anime though. But if we don't count that, I'm pretty sure it was something like Mew Mew Power, which was the anime for kids dub of my very first manga. At the age of I think I was 9 or 10, I created a little animated series on the computer using my mouse to draw. And it was called Tokyo Crystal Mew, and basically it was literally it was the same series, but instead all the characters from the original series all had kids, and then their kids just went through the same thing that their parents went through. Okay. And so that was my whole thing, and I did that for years throughout my childhood. And just recently Tokyo Mew Mew has announced their remake, and they showed a trailer just the other day.
Oh,
and
cool.
I am over the moon.
When did you start drawing, and what really inspired you to start doing that?
I started drawing, I think I was in kindergarten, and I was really young. And it was because I watched Powerpuff Girls. And that was the first thing that I started drawing, was Powerpuff Girls. I went to this girl's house for a sleepover, and she had cable, and I didn't have cable growing up. And so we were watching Powerpuff Girls, and I was obsessed. And so I started drawing that. And then I just drew anything else that I liked, Polly Pocket characters. I tried drawing them. And when I was in Yu-Gi-Oh, I tried to draw Dark Magician Girl. You know, I tried to draw everything. I fell in love with drawing the minute I picked up my pencil, and I just drew that thing. And I would draw my own comics and stuff. I just love creating.
So you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh. Was it Yu-Gi-Oh that kind of brought you into shonen?
So I actually hated Yu-Gi-Oh when it started.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
And the reason why is because, you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
So on local broadcasting, they were showing Powerpuff Girls on local broadcasting. They had new episodes. I was losing my mind, right? I go on vacation, come back a week or two later, and they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh in place of that time slot. I hated Yu-Gi-Oh for that. I was like, dude, screw this shit. I hate this shit. I'm never going to watch this dumb, stupid thing. And then one day I sat down, I was like, oh, what's this dumb, stupid thing? I'm going to hate it. And then I loved it. And then I started getting into more shonen and stuff like that afterwards, because I realized it wasn't all bad.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually had kind of a reverse situation there.
Really?
I started out with shonen. Yeah, when I was a little kid, I would on Saturday mornings I would watch the original Dragon Ball.
Yes.
And that brought me into shonen. And then from there, I started watching other cartoons. I watched Arthur and things like that after Dragon Ball. I was a little 3-year-old. Yes, I watched Dragon Ball at age 3.
Oh my God, that's amazing, honestly. Raised on Dragon Ball.
Yes. It's probably why I turned out as crazy as I did, but you know.
It was more interesting that way.
All right, so my next question is actually something that is kind of on the scary end of things. Facebook Meta.
Oh.
All right, so not only is it going to affect our physical world, because some physical things are only going to be digital or will be more of a primary use in the digital realm, but I feel like it might also affect the way that VTubers communicate and the way that they function. What's your thoughts about how Facebook Meta is going to affect everything, basically?
When it comes to VTubing, it's going to affect it only in a positive way. Everything else, not so sure.
Yeah.
I think that with that sort of technology, people will want things to be more realistic, because right now it's very uncanny valley. And so the only way that you can make it more realistic is by capturing muscles in your face that do certain things and stuff like that. And Apple's already done a really good job with their Face ID technology, with their infrared camera in the front of theirs, to detect how the face is moving from the jaw, from literally where your lips are on your face. If you're moving it to the side, it can even detect when you puff out your cheeks. It's really impressive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that's pretty much as good as the technology gets, unless you draw a bunch of lines and dots on your face. So I feel like with Meta and everything like that, it's going to help further push the envelope and want people to make that technology better and better and better. So that way things are more realistic and have that sort of thing that people like when they talk to people. People like to be able to tell what your face is doing when you're talking to them. And if not, you don't know what the other person is feeling, and that could be really, really anxiety inducing. So I think it'll honestly help. I think with everything else, it'll just make it very, very, very interesting. I watched this video once of this person who was living in a future world where they were just like driving down the street in their bike, and they went in a grocery store, and they could see holograms everywhere, like by wearing glasses and stuff like that. And if they take them off, it's all gone, but they take them off, it's like bright colors, and you can see stuff above people's heads. I don't know if that's within our future and stuff like that, but it makes me think of stuff like that, like, oh, I wonder if eventually we'll have something like that.
I could see it like that. I could also see it kind of a Ready Player One situation where we're not really living in the physical anymore. We're all digital people, basically.
I don't like that. I've seen too many comics and stuff like that, like Clinic of Horrors on Webtoon, where like their bodies are just deteriorating, and they're just like putting like liquids and stuff inside the body, and it's like, oh, you can't pay for your internet bill anymore, get out. And they're like, I can't, my legs are broken because I don't have muscle mass anymore. And they're like, well, too bad, we'll carry you out back and throw you in the trash, and then they just die there.
Hopefully that's not where it's going.
Hope not. That's terrible.
Oh no.
I would hate that. Also, I don't know. Listen, you get a lot of fun stuff up in your brain. But you know what's really good? When you go on like a nice walk and you feel like your muscles are just like doing their muscly thing. I don't know. I don't think you'd be able to replace that feeling.
I don't either, but I mean, if we had some kind of like a chamber that we put our bodies in, so we're actually moving along with it, maybe?
Oh yeah, then you could like work out in there and stuff. Yeah. See, I think if they take advantage of like the VR equipment or VR workout stuff and like, like Ring Fit and stuff like that, if they incorporate that into the metaverse, then I'm down. At least then you're like staying on top of stuff and you're not just letting everything just go to shit,
I could see a positive as well for someone who maybe isn't able to walk, be able to visit places they would never be able to visit otherwise. So a lot of positives, a lot of negatives. I'm a little bit more on the apocalyptic side, unfortunately. I can't get around it.
Yeah,
but,
I want to hear.
Well, like pretty much Ready Player One, but if the heroes lost and the corporation took over, and so everything goes through this virtual world, properties and everything, and if you break the TOS, you don't have a life and you go to prison.
Oh God!
I mean, I hope it doesn't.
Think about that. Dang.
Right? Yeah.
Watch out, guys! Watch out, guys, for the metaverse. You better read that TOS and you better
really
drink water.
Moving away from the doom and gloom. What inspired your style and flair? Were you just born that way? When did it actually start?
One could say that I did this myself, and others could say that I was born this way. So we could talk about both situations.
Okay.
I mean, I was born into the Toriama family, obviously. Everybody knows that I got 5 older Catgirl sisters, and if you haven't, then that's okay. Now you know. You're welcome. And I got a mom, and I have a wonderful family and stuff like that. So everything about me is very much from my family and friends and influence and stuff like that. But at the same time, one could also say that there are certain parts of me that were made specifically. I am an artist, so I did make all the art for my model, and it was inspired off of my actual hair color, half pink, half blue. I've always liked Catgirls. For the longest time, I was like, Catgirls are cringe, man. But then I was like, what the fuck? Everything is cringe. If you think about it, why don't you just live your life to make yourself happy? And so I was like, I'll be whatever I want. So I'm a cat girl. And yeah, and I just kind of go with the flow. I don't let other people dictate what I do or how I express myself, because it's just more interesting and more fun if you just do things yourself. And honestly, no matter what you do in life, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like you. There's always going to be someone who judges you. There's always going to be somebody who hates your guts and wishes that you were never born. But at the same time, there's always going to be like at least 10 people who love you, and they love everything you do. So you might as well just do things that make you happy, because no matter what, you're going to be loved and you're going to be hated. So
yeah, absolutely agree. Wow, so you made all of that yourself, all the textures and everything.
Yeah. The only thing that I didn't do myself is make me move. I did hire an artist to do that. They are good at live 2D, which is how VTuber models of the 2D form move. Because to be quite honest, I'm bad at math. And I don't like things that require a lot of precision, because I do that in my art already. So I didn't really want to learn a program to have to do all that stuff. So I hired someone else who already knew the program to do it for me.
All right, if you could guest star on any show, not even exclusive to anime, what would you choose?
Oh man, I hope nobody judges me for this. Honestly, I would love to star in Dad Feels show. I would love to be a character, even if it was a character that only showed up one time. That would be so freaking cool. Like, honestly, so cool. I would love that.
Were you thinking Kisaka, or were you thinking the doppelganger?
The doppelganger, because that seems a bit more within Dad's everyday life. Because me like this also works, but I feel like my doppelganger would fit in a little bit more. Not to mention, I know that Dad just got a nice camera, a nice like 6K camera, and so you got to flex, you got to show that cool stuff off, man.
I don't know. I mean, I could see that working better, but at the same time, he is starting to VTube, so.
True, it is a part of his lore. It's like becoming a part of his lore. So I feel like both would work. You know what? If I could be selfish, I'd say both. I'd say both.
Start out the episode, you all talking, and all of a sudden you get sucked out of the computer, and then you're.
Oh man! Oh, that would be so cool! Holy shit!
Tell you what, though, his model is so freaking creepy. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it yet. So I wasn't subscribed to the gaming one, or if I am, it never gave me notifications for it. So I haven't seen it, but I've heard stories. I need to go back and look.
Yeah. All right. So you write books and you produce your own fanime. If you could have your own big budget film or series, what would it consist of, and what genre and style would it be produced in?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I would have to go the absolute freaking like self-indulgent route and turn my very first fanime into an actual series. So for those who have never seen it or heard of it, I'll kind of explain a little bit, because it's not based on original content, but I have made it original now. So like the original thing was based off of Tokyo Mew Mew. As I said before, it was based off of that universe, and then like all those characters all had children, and now all their children are basically doing the same thing. But as I got older, I was like, okay, well that's not at all original, and I would never be able to license that. I have to get there'd be a lot of like legalities and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, so instead I was like, okay, I built a lot of stuff that was original within it. And so I was like, I can easily take the main core parts of the plot that was original and then kind of just change a lot of the other stuff. And so I did. And so I sat down years ago and I kind of reworked the plot and reworked the story to make it entirely original instead. And so I would love, because I do have a script for the movie, for the entire series, I would love to make that movie or make an entire series based off of Tokyo Crystal Mew, which would be called Crystal Hearts, where a bunch of people have to deal with a basically alien threat that's trying to take over their world, and they have to defeat it. Otherwise, they're gonna lose their world, and there's lots of twists and turns.
I hope you get to do that one day. I really do.
That's honestly my goal. That's one of my biggest dreams, is to like put together maybe a smaller studio. I don't think I would be in charge of like handling it. I'd have to hire a management team, honestly. Like that's a lot. But you know, ideally my dream is to have an entire crew and we work on that series together and we make it happen. That's my biggest dream ever.
Well, I really, really hope it happens. That would be awesome. I have a feeling that you would. I've seen what you've produced so far with the budget you have, and it's been pretty dang amazing. So I can only imagine you with a big budget. And now back into the darker side of things, the true Grand Puss Puss.
Oh,
how much do you know about Garfield?
Cold sweat just went down my neck when you said that. Gosh, not enough. I'll be honest, not enough. I know he's a cat, and I know he likes lasagna. I know he has an owner named, oh God, is his name Tom? And then John. Wow, see, I already messed it up. Oh God, another cold sweat. And then he has Odie, the dog. Mm-hmm. Odie, yeah. And then he has to deal with that bitch that's way too happy and he's not fond of it. And then, yeah, that's about as much as I know.
I don't know if how far we'll get into that today, but did you know that everyone in the entire world has come into either a Garfield toy or a comic at one point in their life? Everyone.
Oh my God. It's really that common.
Well, maybe not in some, you know, smaller countries or something like that, but as far as anyone who has had the ability to have access to that sort of media has had Garfield in their life. It has, since the time it came out, it has been involved in everyone's life. It is like the secret ultimate franchise. And you don't even think about it. I mean, you see like a Garfield cup at like a Sam's Club or something. You don't really think about the fact that it's Garfield. But next time you go to the store, look around. You'll find at least one thing Garfield themed.
Okay, so I'm not worried about the metaverse. I'm worried about this.
Yeah.
I'm worried about this. Garfield's going to take over and we're not even going to notice it.
Yeah, we have a Garfield overlord conspiracy among us. That's a video right there.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh God, another cold sweat.
I don't know. I'm going on the inspiration side of it now. I'm really curious how or what steps it took to know that you wanted to do this VTubing and art and things like that as a form of a living. What made you decide to make that a job, but also something you love?
Well, I think the answer actually stems all the way back from when I was considering college. So back when I was considering college, I was looking at different degrees that were around my area that I could get. And I found that pretty much all of them were just graphic design. And I honestly don't give a shit about graphic design. Graphic design is great and it's good to know it. And like being like a VTuber who basically creates almost all my own stuff, it is a good skill to have. But learning what the industry was about and learning what kind of jobs I would get doing that, I realized very quickly that I would hate it immediately and that it would be a waste of time and a waste of money. And I would be better off working any other, regular job if I was gonna hate it. So I decided I wasn't gonna go to college. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go to college because they don't have what it is that I want. Because what it is that I realized that I wanted is for me to create things that make me happy and that really inspire me and make me feel good, and not just be 100% reliant on other people to basically pay my bills, to have to rely on clients, to have to rely on doing this shitty job that I hate, to work on this shitty drawing that I didn't want to do. And while we'll always come to points where we have to make sacrifices in our careers and in our lives, I didn't want that to be literally my entire career. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to go to college. And then I just, I moved out of my parents' place and I just started working a retail job. And that then over the course of time of like doing that and like just discovering new people online and getting to know new people, I realized that I really did have a passion for drawing and that my dream was really to, share my creations with the world and stuff like that. And that I could make that a reality with the internet. Anything was possible. And so that's when I started working towards that. I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And then Twitch was another avenue to do that. I started streaming my art on there because they added in the creative category back then. And I was like, oh, Twitch isn't just about gaming. I'll go and do that. And so I started doing that. And then I met amazing people through that alone. And through, honestly, I think a lot of luck, it ended up going well. And I started VTubing because that was another way to bring my art to the front line, you know, and really represent myself as well. And that has went well too. So
the art kind of, it sounds like it found you, and then you grew with it, and then just everything really fell into place. And now you're independent with your art, maybe in different forms, but your art is supporting you, and that's a dream. It's really cool that you're there.
It is totally a dream. I consider myself incredibly lucky to be in the position that I am, because it really was just like things lined up just right. And I got like the right opportunities at the right time, and, you know, just did things at the right time in the right place. And here we are. I honestly would not be here doing the same thing I'm doing today if things were even just slightly different.
And now the big question, the question I ask everyone.
Ooh. Okay.
And it's a little bit bleak. I don't like it to be bleak, but it can come out as a little bit bleak. But when you are gone, when you're no longer on this earth, how do you want to be remembered? And what message would you like to leave on the earth?
That's not bleak. That's wonderful. Well, at least I think so.
Some would disagree.
That's true. But you know what? I think that's a beautiful thing. I think I would want to be remembered as a person who loved to create, loves to laugh, and is silly. I hear a lot from people that I'm an inspiration, but I don't know if I'm really necessarily that. I don't think people can be like an inspiration. I think that people find inspirations in other people, and that's not necessarily the result of the creator having bestowed that upon them. I think everyone just sees things from their own view. And that in itself is beautiful. You know, you kind of make your own destiny. You find inspiration from different things, and that's all you. And so I would never want to take credit for that. That feels weird. I'm just living my life. I'm just doing things that I would do normally. I love doing what I do, and I want people to see it just for that. So I would want people to remember me as someone who loves to laugh, loves to create, and you know, is very, very silly and doesn't let anyone keep her away from that.
I mean, I would kind of argue that if you wouldn't have taken that step and taken that risk and lived the life you wanted to live, other people wouldn't have seen that and have been inspired and have done that. So, I mean, you have made a difference in the world just from that.
As long as it's a positive difference, then I'm happy.
Well, hey, Kisa, thank you again so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate you taking out the time, and I've really enjoyed getting to know you better and hearing about your past and everything.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful conversation. If you guys would like to support me, please consider checking out my YouTube. I post a lot of clip compilations on there, as well as original videos, ASMR, and my monthly tea show called Kitty Club, where I bring on a guest and we talk about tea and we drink tea and we have wonderful conversations. I'm working really hard on getting my videos monetized on YouTube. So if you guys would drop a sub and go watch some of those sweet videos, I really appreciate it. Otherwise, if you guys like art, please drop by my Twitch channel or consider checking out my Patreon, where I have a monthly button club and a monthly sticker club, and the designs are really cute. Thank you guys so much.
And some of those videos are freaking hilarious. You all definitely need to check out Kisa.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy them.
And as always, keep your eyes wide open and never stop reading. See you all. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my patrons. Thanks to you, I'm able to do what I love. All proceeds go back towards the channel for props, for costumes, and for any trips we take or any games we play. CNK114, Investigator Zeus, Dobby's Music, Jerry Mullins, and Free Spirit Katie. Really, thank you all so much for allowing me to do what I love to do.